Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 243 of Show Fever. Today we'll be going over episode 18 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. So this episode starts off with us getting a flashback where we see as it's almost directly after Asa, Mine, and Nagisa have left Higashi Village. We see as Mina is showing Asa like specific smoke signals and all of that, and we kind of see they're just talking about like what they're going to do and everything. And we see as these two people end up running up on them, and they end up explaining themselves. Well, not them, but like the family ends up explaining themselves. Oh, we're just cosplayers. But ultimately, Mina ends up seeing through their ruse and notices, these people from Higashi Village come to kill us. So we then see fight ensues, and they're able to ultimately escape. So then we end up going back to the modern day, where we see as kind of the aftermath of Shingo ultimately escaping from Yuru and all of that. And he kind of speaks about that, explains how Fujin is a wind-associated daemon, and Rajin is an electricity and thunder-associated daemon, or lightning. But yeah, so then, after that, we see as we end up going, and all the people who are members of Shingo's little group are kind of discussing amongst themselves, like, what happened to Shingo? We don't know what happened to Shingo. We see how they're all kind of freaking out, and ultimately we see as one of them ends up calling another member, and he's like, go check up and see if Shingo is okay, because we heard like a cough and all of that, and then it cut off, so Shingo might not be well. So this is a dude sent off. Then we see the perspective of Dera and the goon that he associated with, that was like one of the gravediggers or something like that, or bandits, I believe. So they end up talking, and they see this guy who knows where Yuru is, knows they're hidden the Yuru. So ultimately, the goon ends up using his daemon on this dude to essentially like possess him, reveal the information, and then like almost puppet his body all the way to where Shingo is. So we see this there, and the goon end up following along. Ultimately, this guy ends up getting there, falls down, and we then see as a confrontation appears to about to ensue between Dera, the goon, and Shingo and Asuma. But ultimately, we see as Asuma ends up sending Yuru away because he knows that Dera is here to get Yuru. So then after that, they're both like, you know what? Like, we ain't really got a reason. Oh my gosh, we don't really have a reason to be here if Yuru's not here. So they run off, but Shingo ends up planning to chase after him a little bit, but it doesn't really end up going anywhere. But yeah, so then after that, we see as we get a perspective of other goons of Shingo's, or henchmen of Shingo's. I guess I'll probably start using henchmen. But yeah, so other henchmen of Shingo are the ones who are keeping the fake Asa and the little girl hostage. We see as the fake Asa is able to send out one of her tendrils to then ultimately end up finding Danji, or the daemon that was Danji, and kind of communicate with him. And so he ultimately ends up learning, where the fake Asa is and all of that. And he's like, I need to get Yuru's help. Though Yuru may hate me, I need to get his help, or I need to get right and left's help. So then after that, we see where, what's his name? Yozakura, the daemon of Asuma, actually took Yuru. And we see that Yozakura is in fact an intelligent daemon, and his voice is sick. Like, I love the voice actor who did his voice here because it is just so cool. I mean, yeah, it has some distortion on it, but it still was really sick. So we see this, and ultimately he ends up flying and reveals to Yuru and Dera, ultimately, because he ends up landing with them, that Asuma is in fact not on the side of Shingo. Asuma actually despises Shingo and wants to take him down because Shingo was very, hateful towards Iori, Asuma's mother. And then, heck, the entire family of Shingo's and Iori's were hateful towards Shingo. But towards Iori, because they saw her as worthless. And Shingo ultimately used her to expand his business through the, Kagemoris. So Asuma wants to get revenge on Shingo for disgracing his mother, and essentially using her as a tool to elevate himself among others. And we see also that Danzo really just wants to take Shingo out as well, but Asuma is doing this kind of on his own way. And we do know that, as we see as kind of a flashback to when Jin and Dera were talking, that it is known that Asuma is acting as kind of a double agent, and seeming as if he's for Shingo, but actually still being for the Kagemoris. So that kind of all is laid out, which is super cool, because I knew Asuma was kind of odd. I honestly expected him to be just with Shingo. However, that is not the case. So it's really cool that he is, in fact, still working with the Kagemoris. And we just kind of see as Yozakura ends up speaking on his character a little bit more, mentioning about how he really is a kind person and everything. And then we see as a bit of a discussion ensues as Yuru ends up noticing a smoke signal, and he's like, oh crap, that is a Higashi Village smoke signal. And then we also see as Yozakura ends up explaining how Ivan is kind of explains who Ivan is, why Shingo recruited Ivan and all of that, and how Ivan is in fact very dangerous. So Yuru and Dera are faced with these options of whether to go and help Danji and then end up saving the hostage, or go and fight Ivan with right and left as to ensure that Yuru gains some knowledge about where his parents may be. So then after that, we end up going to the perspective of the fake Asa, where ultimately we see someone bust down the door. It is not Yuru. It is in fact the real Asa, and there's this very tense confrontation that's about to happen between the fake Asa and the real Asa. So, because of this, we likely know that Yuru went to fight Ivan. So, I know Yuru's not really going to have too much of a role in fighting Ivan, considering it'll probably be a pretty massive Daemon fight. I mean, it already is a Daemon fight. But I'm really ready to see how this plays out. And we know that Yosakura did not go along with him because Dara was like, yo, come along. And Yosakura, quickly struck that down. He was like, I only work for Asuma. I only take Asuma's commands. But yeah, so that's kind of all that episode 18 of Daemons in the Shadow Realm was about. It was a really good episode, and it is most certainly leading into some ending stuff in the first season, because we only have 6 episodes left, so including episode 19, which will come out next week. But yeah, so I'm just really excited to see where this will ultimately end, and I know we're about to get some crazy good fights here in a little bit. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is Yosakura explained why Asuma went directly for Shingo and was kind of getting in cahoots with him. And this is because Fujin and Rajin are directly antithetical to the powers and are, I guess, super effective in Pokemon terms against Yosakura and Asagiri, which are, not Shingo, Asuma's Daemons. But yeah, so like I said, that's all it really was for that episode, and that's all I really have for episode 243 of Shelf Review. So, thank you very much for watching.